is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Run It Back on the Kansas City Sports Network. I'm your host, Jazsmin Halliburton, and join with me for another week is none other than Sophie Dilley. Sophie, thank you so much for coming in what feels like an early Sunday morning, but it's really almost noon. But I appreciate you coming in regardless.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love doing this.
So I know we're gonna jump into it, and I did not have a show last week. You know, things be busy around here, so I apologize for that. But word is, not word is, we know what happened. Fortunately, K-State did not make the NCAA tournaments. I think they were very much on the bubble. They lost to number 2 Houston on the road, which is really unfortunate. You know, I know K-State hasn't had the best road record this season, but I honestly, it was at a point where I don't even know if even if they did win, that they would have been able to go to the NCAA tournament. They should have. I still because Sophie, you and me, we had like a 20-minute discussion about why they should make the tournament. So regardless of whichever it was, we think that they should have made the tournament, but I don't think that's where the chips were going to fall, even if they did win against Houston. But I was going through this, last week, thinking, why didn't we make the tournament? We talked about RPI last time, and I was going through the list, right? Because I was trying to see at least, what are the Big 12 teams, made the tournament? Obviously, Texas, obviously BYU, Baylor was in there, Iowa State is in there. Okay, cool, whatever. But the one that made me take a back was TCU got it, and K-State finished above TCU in the Big 12 standings. So I was literally about to flip this table, like, why the hell is TCU in? And one, we split the series against TCU, have a better record than TCU, and we are placed above them, I think, one spot in the Big 12 standings. So I was like, why the hell does TCU get to be in the conference, in the NCAA tournament, and K-State doesn't, right? But I actually had to look, and I think I know that answer. I think I do know that answer. TCU had a much stronger non-conference than we did. They didn't have anything that, necessarily huge wins. They didn't have any upset wins essentially. But I think they played 3 more games than K-State did, because I think there was another tournament. Another tournament to start the season off that they were in. And they played teams like number 7 Minnesota, number 2 Wisconsin, Coastal Carolina, Georgia. Those are the type of teams they played to start the season. Texas, Hawaii, Florida State, and then going into conference play. K-State, I think we only played Nebraska and Rice. Those, I think, were the biggest schools that we played in the non-conference, and I think that essentially became our downfall, Sophie.
Yeah, and so you hit the nail right on the head, because I actually watched the selection show and I just knew our name was going to be called, and so I felt really silly when I sat there and was like, where's K-State, right? I didn't even know what happened. I was pretty stunned. And TCU, you said it, that is the one that absolutely shocked me, because they have a really great resume with that non-con, but I feel like our resume is just as strong with the upsets. But our downfall, I think I agree, was the non-con schedule. And then we had 3 really, really bad losses, to really terrible teams. And I think that ended up being our downfall. But it's a bummer, because I don't know if that should necessarily override all of the upsets and the fact that we beat 6 teams that are in the tournament, and we swept some teams that were in the tournament, and then we didn't get swept very much. I think that's another big thing. We went down to Houston and we didn't get swept. We took a set. And so I guess I still have some questions about it. But moving forward, this might prove that if Kansas State really, really wants to make a push in volleyball, they know that they're capable of doing so. But I think Jason Mansfield, the rest of his staff, they need to sit down and realize that in order to get your name out there, maybe we need to have that stronger non-con schedule, take some risks men's basketball, women's basketball is doing right now, and really get our name out there, because we deserve to be in the conversation. But I think we just faded into the background a little bit.
Exactly. And I've talked about this before. I'm not a fan of recency bias. I'm not a fan of it. But when you're focusing on something that was so early on in the season, no, Sophie, you're right. We had some losses that, respectfully, it shouldn't have been losses, right? Lost to Oklahoma, who was winless in the Big 12 at that time. We lost to Lipscomb early in the season, and there was another loss.
Cincinnati, I think it was Cincinnati. That was pretty
Cincinnati, yeah. They finished below us in the Big 12 standing as well. Thank you, Sophie. It was Cincinnati, right? So, but now they know. Now they know what's up. I don't know fully how the scheduling goes. I feel like every sport is different, and these schedules were more than likely determined. It could have been like 3 years ago, right? And Coach Mansfield doesn't have any control of that. But if he has the option to have some control of it next year, we need to see what's going to be done, because like even though TCU did not win a lot of these games against these like bigger teams, like they lost to number 7 Minnesota, they lost to Wisconsin, they lost to Coastal Carolina, they did beat Georgia, they beat Utah State, and they did beat Texas A&M in these early season conferences. Okay, I do like understand that, but then when they got to the Big 12, TCU is a really good team. That was a really tough 2 games when we had to play TCU to start our Big 12 conference, right? So I am like, TCU is a good team. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that they didn't deserve to go either. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to see like where where that discrepancy was, where K-State couldn't go and they did. I would be like, if you add an extra Big 12 team in the NCAA tournament, bro, that's juice, right? Like,
exactly.
That's straight up juice, right? And I was looking like at the tournaments and everything. There was the Big 12 teams that I named, obviously Texas, BYU, Baylor, Iowa State, and TCU. So right now, looking through, because I think they've already gone through at least 2 games, and Texas is actually the only Big 12 team left in the NCAA tournament, which kind of stinks. But it's still making that argument, because I'm seeing these teams, I'm seeing where some of them fall and everything like that, some of the matchups. K-State, I think K-State would have done well. I'm not gonna lie. I understand probably the first couple games would have been on the road, and they have not been great on the road, but I still think they would have ran some tables, considering who they got on this team and how much they've improved throughout the season. The tables would have been turned. I truly and utterly believe that, Sophie. They'd have an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's what is so hard to swallow for me, is the fact that I wish we could have gone just to see what we are most capable of. Because in order to get to the Sweet 16, you only have to win 2 games, which, I mean, that's difficult, but they always say that the first game in the round of 64 is the hardest to win. And so I think that if we could have got past the round of 64, I think we would have been in the Sweet 16. I don't know if we would have advanced past that, really just depending on what bracket we were in, but we could have gone and done something for ourselves. And it's just such a bummer that we weren't able to prove that. But I hope that lights a fire under our team, under our staff, just really to promote K-State volleyball and want to be on a national stage. We proved it in the Big 12, right? But now it's time to take that to a national level.
Absolutely. And I think that is going to light a fire, because there was some pretty big news from none other than Aaliyah Carter, where she posted on Instagram of, her all like K-State, everything. She says, essentially, I can't say it on camera, but essentially that she's going to run it back. And if y'all recall, a couple of weeks ago, I had Aaliyah Carter on the show. I was asking her, I was like, hey, yo, it was right after they swept Texas. All right, I was asking her, I was like, yo, you got a COVID year, you got an extra year, and if so, are you coming back? I asked her straight up right here, like how we talking right now, Sophie. I asked her straight up, and she was telling me that it's like she didn't say a full no, I'm not coming back, but she was sounding like, no, and I think maybe I'm gonna leave it up to the younger girls coming up behind me. I promise you, even my producer who's behind the scenes, Nick, he heard, and we were like, that sounds like she's not coming back. Right. And it sounds like she's going to go into the transfer portal as as a grad transfer, and literally could have the opportunity to go anywhere she wanted. Yes. Literally anywhere she wanted, she would get that opportunity. But after posting on Friday that that I think that she's going to run it back with K-State, you don't know how happy that makes me. Because Jason Mansfield, like, this is just year one in the system.
Exactly.
This is year one in a system that he actually changed halfway through the season. Okay. Like this is a system that with another year with these same players, obviously Aaliyah Carter coming back. If it's truly official, that's exactly what this Instagram post looks like, y'all. When 100, that's what it looks like. That she's coming back. Boom, one of the best players in the country. All right, boom, check that right off the list. You have Anaya Clinton, who's going to become like one of the best players in the Big 12. Okay, you have Izzy Trofeski, who was just an all-around ball player. Okay, she's going to be back. And then, of course, you have Brenda Schmidt going to be solidifying the middle as the middle blocker. Okay, you got a lot to be building on, and it just makes it so much better now that Aaliyah Carter is coming back. I don't know who else Jason Mansfield's going to dip out of the transfer portal, because he was able to do that already with a couple people with this team, obviously Izzy Trofeski, and then you have Liz as well. So it's going. I'm excited about it, because this get back time is going to be something else now that she's coming back.
Yeah, and at first I was like, man, we're losing a group of seniors that's huge. And the people that were winning the Big 12 awards, you have Aaliyah Carter, Sydney Bolding, Mackenzie Morris. But with Aaliyah coming back, with Anaya Clinton, those two were our offensive weapons. Brenda Schmidt can secure the middle, like you said. Sydney Bolding will be a loss, but Brenda Schmidt can step up. And then we have Simone Sims, who will probably step into that libero role unless Mansfield gets somebody from a portal. So while those seniors are a loss, I'm not too worried about it, especially with Aaliyah Carter coming back. And I'm so excited for next season.
So it's going to be insane. Because you mentioned it, Sophie, losing Mac Morris, that is going to hurt, because she was one insane. She led the Big 12 in digs this year for what seems like she's done literally every year that she's been at K-State. If she was not the top, like if she was not the leader in digs, she's literally like top 3. Like if that she's top 3, right? But that's just, it's something that is going to be built off, and it just makes me feel better. I know this team had an opportunity to be good next year, but now knowing that Aaliyah Carter seems like that she's coming back, I'm sorry. There's no way they, like, not only Aaliyah Carter, but the team as a whole, there's no way they're gonna want to miss that opportunity of going to the NCAA tournament again. I truly think that they're going to remember sitting at that selection show, waiting to hear their name called, and it wasn't. I know that hurts. like I know that has to hurt, right? And that's a feeling that they are not going to forget, and that's why everybody's gonna have to watch out come next season. You feel me? Everybody keep your head on a swivel, because you got to come to the morgue and you got to deal with a team that is pissed off. And I don't think anybody wants to do that. But thank you. But we're going to just go to a quick break. First and foremost, got to shout out Home Field Apparel. Any K-State gear you need, any t-shirts, hoodies, hats, whatever the heck you might want, please go to homefieldapparel.com. And also need a shout out to Studio Wax. From head to toe, need to get rid of some hair, hit up my girl Kylie. Studio Wax right there in Manhattan. We'll be right back on Run It Back on the Kansas City Sports Network.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Welcome back to Run It Back here on the Kansas City Sports Network. Of course, we've got Sophie Dilley with me, and of course, I am your host, Jazsmin Halliburton. Talked a whole bunch about K-State Volleyball, how this is going to be a very pissed off team coming back to the morgue next season, and a very pissed off Aaliyah Carter. And pissed off Aaliyah Carter is what we love to see, all right? But now we moving on to K-State women's basketball, we talked about it. I talked about it a whole bunch. This is a team that's they on a different type of time. They are on a different type of time. They're already 7-1 this season, I think, if I did count the game they just had against Jackson State. And this is a team that is not playing scrubs to start the season. This is a tough non-conference schedule that they're playing, and they're at 7-1. They are currently ranked 14th in the country, and deservedly so. Honestly, you could argue that they could even be a couple places higher, to be honest. You really truly can. But they've been on one, Sophie, like we thought they would be. Everyone knew what they had last year, even though going into the WNIT and getting 3 games in the WNIT, even the team that was 0-11 on the road all season, everybody knew. Everybody knew. It'd be like, I think I see something, y'all. Everybody with a set of eyes and who knows ball could see nah, something's gonna be cooking here. And of course, that last year not having Ayoka Lee and now having her back this year with a team that knows how to play, not only completely through her, but around her as well, So they just went through a tournament last weekend in Florida. A lot of games were on Flow Hoops. That just seemed like a way for a lot of people to not be able to watch their games, which kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, I have no beef with Flow Hoops, but I just have beef with me not being able to really watch the games. That's all I'm saying. But this was a tournament that once again did not have any scrubs in it. Western Kentucky, it was game 1. Honestly, I don't know about Western Kentucky. They're probably good, but considering who else was in this tournament, including K-State, let's see, I'm not sure. I think it was 16th ranked North Carolina, and then obviously number 5 Iowa. So this is a tournament to where they can't just let anybody in right now, because they're these teams, 3 out of the 4 teams in the tournament are ranked top 20. That's insane. All right. So good and well, this ain't gonna be no scrubs, right? But they're able to get game 1 win against Western Kentucky, 77-61. K-State defense, once again, being the absolute clamps that they are. Western Kentucky shot 33% from the field, 15% from 3. That's cheeks, but that's what the K-State defense will do to you. All right. Then game 2, they beat number 16 North Carolina, another ranked team other than Iowa that they played this year. So I really, really enjoy how that game turned. They beat them 63-56. Once again, clamps. North Carolina 37% from the field, and this is a fun number: 10% from 3. 10% from 3. They hit two shots out of 20 from the 3-point line.
Wow.
Clamps. All right, clamps. And then now to the bread and butter of essentially the tournament, which I want to say was for the tournament championship game. I was like, K-State beat Iowa again. How many teams can say that they, have to play Iowa twice in a span of a week and a half?
Yeah, 10 days, I think.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And once again, we unfortunately Iowa was able to get this one, so Cats are still up 2-1 in the series. Okay, but they're able to get this one. And once again, looking through it, I didn't get to watch the game because once again it was on Flow Hoops, and 2, I think I was working that day. But it was a game that wasn't no cakewalk for Iowa. Honestly, I don't think Iowa wants to see us. I'll be fully, completely honest with you. Iowa did not want to see us. I know they got the 3rd time that they played us, but ish wasn't sweet out here. It wasn't sweet at all. They won 77-70. It was essentially a tight game, pretty much the whole game, just like the other 2 were. Okay, but Iowa was just shooting better, and what I mean, Iowa was shooting better. Just Caitlin Clark was shooting better because she's literally over 50% of their offense. All right, they shot 42% from the field, 37% from 3. Caitlin Clark had 32 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, and 7 3-pointers. So the only time that she looked like Caitlin Clark, the first time she looked like Caitlin Clark, was the 3rd time around against this very same team that has essentially had her under 25 twice, which is very unusual for her, right? And then Serena Sundell, she's been really cooking, bro. Serena's been cooking. She's averaging 18 points a game in the last I want to see 2 weeks or so. She's really been cooking. But this is a team that their confidence after playing Iowa twice in a week and a half span, after playing another ranked team at UNC, and this is a North Carolina team who played against South Carolina, literally one of the best teams in the country, and actually went toe to toe with them. Right. And so in case they to be able to get the win against them, this is a team that's the confidence is just increasing with every single game, Sophie.
And this is a team that can compete with anyone. Give us anyone. I don't really care. I want to see any team in the country that you have, because I guarantee that we could play them tough. In that Iowa game, I was actually able to watch it through this Twitch stream that my co-host's roommate found. And so we watched the first quarter, and this is something that just speaks volumes about this team and their resilience specifically. Iowa was up 27-15 after the first quarter. And I know you had 3 quarters of basketball left, but after one quarter, being down 12, you're like, oh, this is tough. That you can either just roll over or you can stand back up and say, you know what, we're coming back. And then we outscored them 23-12 in the second quarter, and it went into half. And I believe we were tied or down by a couple. But then here's what happened, Jazsmin. Our stream got banned in the third quarter, and when it got banned, we were tied. And 3 minutes later, when we were able to reboot, refresh, and get back on, we were down by 10. And so I don't exactly know what happened there. So we blame Twitch for this loss, actually, respectfully, of course. Yes, and so essentially we could just never crawl back from that 10-point deficit, whatever happened in like 2.5 minutes. But just such a fun game to watch. And you said it, this was Serena Sundell's tournament. I'm sorry, she ran that. She ran that in every single game. I don't think there was a player from any team in that tournament, really besides Caitlin Clark, of course, that really could stand up to what Serena did. So I was just so excited for her. And then again, Gisela and Ziana off the bench were just huge contributors, as they always are. And the other player that I really want to highlight, and I'll talk about her more in the Jackson State game, but Jalen Glenn is on a different one right now. And I just don't know where she came from. She's always been a great defender, but you know what? Like, she's just picking the perfect season to peak right now. Junior year might be for Serena and Jalen.
My goodness. Honestly, I'm so glad you brought her, because we will talk about her more when we get to the Jackson State game. But I know before we get to it, because I'm excited to talk about Jalen Glenn, because like she's just been my MVP for like ever now. But I know Serena, how you said, like she ran that tournament, bro. like she ran that tournament. She had 21 points, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 6 rebounds in game 1 against Western Kentucky. All right. She had 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds in game 2. Look, man, hear these stats I'm saying, all right? And then the win against North Carolina, right? And then she had 18.6 rebounds, 6 assists against Iowa. Sis is cooking, man. Okay. Like she is cooking, and it's so great, because honestly, this is not a surprise. I know sometimes her being able to sink a couple threes here and there is a surprise, because she's not really known for being a 3-point shooter. Mm-hmm. But you saw her growth as a scorer become like more highlighted towards the end of last season. Right. She started being a lot more aggressive, getting to the bucket, like using her size, because she's a tall guard. She's one of the few tall guards in the Big 12, if not the country, right? Like a true lanky guard. So she's able to use her size, use her length to get to the hole, and you can see her doing that. Like, she's not scared at all. Like, maybe she'll get blocked, maybe she'll get fouled hard and get to the free throw line. She's not scared at all, and that's what we love to keep seeing, because then that's going to translate to everybody else too, and just seeing, because also seeing it more so now, because we might as well just go right into like the Jackson State game. Again, this Jackson State is a good team. let's not get it twisted. Yes, they're the SWAC. They're HBCU school. But I was watching the game. I was rewatching it this morning because I was at work when they were playing before on Friday. So I was rewatching it today. And like, Jackson State had a lot of D1 transfers on it. Like, and I saw how they were playing. I was like, okay, they kind of good. Like, Jackson State has some juice, bro. Do not get it twisted. They are good. I know when I read the score, you may sound like, dang, they played some scrub, but that's just a testament to how good K-State played. All right, K-State won that game 79-37. I don't want to do that math, but that's a lot to a little. Okay, but this is still like as I was watching Jackson State, like Jackson State is good defensively. They are a really good defensive team. They made K-State uncomfortable because this was probably one of the few teams that K-State played to where their size was pretty much matched up. Like, yes. In every single position, there was a guard that's essentially the same height and the same size as them. That's not really often. I think K-State has had to deal with that. Like, because Jackson State, not only did they have 1 6'6", they had 2. They had 2. One of which was a former McDonald All-American that went to USC before she transferred to Jackson State. All right, and that was really interesting to see because I know this essentially wasn't Yoki's best game. I think she finished the game with I want to say 12 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 points and 5 rebounds. Essentially, like to her, it's like to her, the Yoki that we see, it's like no, not the best game that we've seen from her. So, and it's of course interesting because she's coming back from injury. Obviously, she still has a lot to get back into, but it's not often that she's had to go against a player who's literally the same size as her.
Right.
Like she's usually the tallest player on the floor, and this time was a little bit different. Even when an old girl was getting in foul trouble, guess what? Another 6'6" center coming right off the bench to make stuff difficult, right? So I know this was a really probably good for Yoki to get this involved with having multiple players at the same size as her that she has to go against for however many minutes she was on the floor for the 23 minutes that she was on the floor, right? Having to go up against them, right? And just for K-State overall, because like I said, like height for height, this is a team that they were able to match up against, and they need to be able to know how to deal with that.
Yeah, and this might be the first time Aoka Lee has really, really been tested by, again, someone her own size and someone with her own abilities. Because Aoka Lee's a fantastic basketball player, but the numbers say that she just had an average game, right? And one of the biggest things that highlights how good Angel Jackson was in that center is the fact that Aoka Lee only drew 3 fouls in this game. And usually we see Aoka at that foul line like 10 times, right? Because guards are so much smaller than her that they have to foul her to defend her. And Angel Jackson said, I don't have to do that. And so that was really hard. Aoka Lee couldn't really break out of that. She was locked down. And I had so much respect for Angel Jackson coming in and looking at a player like Aoka Lee and going, you know what? I'm going to take her on. She did a fantastic job of that. But Angel Jackson was really the biggest weapon that Jackson State had because, she had those 12 points. And then other than that, those numbers were pretty low for everyone else. And so Aoka Lee on the flip side did a great job of defending her. And I know even some different players, Heavenly Greer, I know had to guard her a little bit. I think even Gisela was on her. So we did a great job of holding her. And then credit to the rest of our defenders. Our guards are great defenders, and they held the rest of the team to very, very little points.
Absolutely, because this is defense is the name of the game. What is the gap goats is pretty much the story of their team now.
Yeah.
Hearing the story, like if you all ever see a goat with a little jersey on and a couple of golden chains around its neck, right? This is a stuffed goat, not a real goat. I don't know. That might not, pass the security test or whatever to have a real goat in there. But it's a stuffed animal goat with chains and a jersey. The thing is looking real fly, right? And it's to highlight their defense because defense is this team's bread and butter, right? Apparently, if they get 3 stops in a row, they put up the goat. Like if they're able to get 3 stops in a row, they pull up the goat because statistically, if you're able to have 3 stops in a row at any point in time of the game, pretty much you win. You get the possessions. It limits the possessions really that the offense is able to do, right? There's some math things and statistics that I honestly don't fully understand, but I just know that clearly it's working, right? Or they wouldn't have gap goat. The duty, it even has its own Instagram, because of
No,
but I heard follow gap goat because it's working. They're putting the clips, and now we can highlight obviously Jalen Glenn, who once again I completely advocated to. Why the hell was she not on the Big 12 all defensive team last year when she led the conference in steals by 11? But that's a rant that I've been on several times before, and y'all already know. All right, y'all know what I'm gonna say, and y'all know how damn ridiculous that was. But you know what? Whatever. What's in the past is in the past. This is the future now. She's turned into a real 3-and-D type of threat. She gonna put the clamps on you, and she gonna stand out there on the perimeter and shoot up some shots, and she gonna sink them. Cause that's where you mentioned before, she acted different. As we know what type of dog she is defensively, but now she's knocking down threes, and even and sometimes she even got that little swag to her that she gonna knock down some shots with 2 steps behind the 3-point line. What? Where is that coming from? Bro, this is she on that type of time.
Yeah, the leading scorer for this game with 13. And really with that main group of juniors, they were freshmen when I was freshman, so they kind of hold a special place in my heart. But Jalen, Briley, and Serena all have, I feel like this year is like their breakout year. You know what I mean? They've been starting since they were freshmen, and they were so timid as freshmen. I know you said Serena has so much confidence this year. She didn't really have that last year. And same with Jalen. Jalen has always been our best defensive player, and defense is my thing in basketball. And so I just love her to death. But seeing her play like this offensively is so exciting because she has that weapon in her pocket, and she just needs to shoot the ball. I think that's what all of them need. They just need the confidence to step back and shoot it. And then in Serena's case, drive the ball in. But Jalen and Briley can drive it in. We've seen that before too. And so just the way that these three are facilitating the offense and creating their own holes, creating holes for others, they're a package deal right now. And they're so much fun to watch. And really, they're running this team right now. And then we have the other pieces connected in. And I just feel like we're kind of unbreakable, if you know what I mean. We're so strong and so close-knit in what we have on our roster.
No, for sure. Because like you mentioned it, like Serena, Jalen, and Bradley Glenn, they came up together. Because it's so. I love when you can truly see the progress in a player. Because honestly, what was one of the first games that we did together was, I think they were playing against, I think it might have been West Virginia. We might have done another women's game together. I'm not even sure. Oklahoma State. It was one of them. It was one of the first basketball games that we called together, where they would put 3 players in the paint against Ayoka Lee, and they would dare those freshmen to shoot, and they wouldn't. They would try to force it to Ayoka Lee. Sometimes it worked. Most of the time it wouldn't. It would end up being a turnover, but it was something throughout the season that ended up still working because they made it to the NCAA tournament, right? But it was at that game where, like, they're not shooting. They're putting 3 players in the paint and leaving you right there to shoot the basketball, and they weren't doing it because they did not have the confidence to be able to do it, right? And now you see them spot up, shoot, and be like, all right, you can play off me if you want to type of time, and they just gonna shoot it right over you. I'm like, damn, to visually see them being able to do this, to have the confidence to do it right in front of your face. You can put a player on me if you want. You can double team Ayoka if you want, but then you're going to leave me. You're going to leave Briley. You're going to leave Gabby. You're going to do something that's going to mess your behind up because you thought it was sweet out here. And that's not what they do. And like, I had to look up real quick, at least what Jalen Glenn is shooting from 3. She's at 40%. She's shooting 40% from 3 so far this season. 40%. That's ridiculous. Like, yeah, and ridiculous. Like, she's had 32 attempts, hit 11, and that goes up to, well, essentially it's 39.6, but I'm rounding up because why the hell not, right? But still, 40% from 3 for someone who's our best defender. Just, she knows her role. She knows her role. That's to be a lockup defender, this team's number 1 defender, and be one of the best 3-point shooters on the team. 3 and D. That's her spot right there.
Right. And I'm glad that you said the number of attempts because I don't have the attempts pulled up, but I knew it wasn't like she just shot it 5 times, right? Like she is taking attempts. So those aren't just numbers at all. She really is that good.
And I'm looking at Briley Glenn because one of the Glenn twins are just, they gonna lock you up. like I'm trying to rank it. It's like, obviously Jalen Glenn, team's best defender. Honestly, everyone's a good defender. I can't even know if I can fully rank that after her. Because obviously you have Briley Glenn, who was actually top 10 in steals last year. Then you do have Ziona Walker, who turned out to be pretty much the primary defender on the Caitlin Clark the first game. Yeah. And again, the second game, like I said, I couldn't really watch that game. So Caitlin Clark had a lot more points, but it's not an easy task to guard Caitlin Clark, twice in a week and a half span, right? But you have Ziona Walker, you have Serena Sundell, who's able to eat some blocks that she's getting because she's so damn tall, going up against guards that are smaller than her, and everyone's just playing man defense. I know last year and the year before that, I'd call their defense, they do a 2-3 zone. I call that a 2-3 zone from hell because it was really effective because how long they were, the wingspan that they got, they was eating up steals. They were able to do that, but now they just straight man defense. I don't even think they've They barely hit zone at all this season. If they did, I missed it. And if they might have been for like a possession or two. But no, they have these stats. They're doing what they're doing defensively with these teams shooting 37% from field, 33% from the field, or 10% from field. They're doing that with straight up man defense. I can't list who's like second, third, fourth, and fifth best defenders because damn it, all of them 1 through 5 are gonna lock you up one way or the damn other.
Right. And I love man defense. And this might be a little bit of a hot take. I don't really know, but man defense is my favorite. And I firmly believe that you have to be good to play man defense effectively. And that's how you separate good teams from great teams. Because if your team can play man defense, then that means that you have 5 players that can defend and not just 1 or 2 that are running all around trying to cover your entire zone. So I absolutely love that we're choosing to play a man defense. Obviously, it's effective. And that just means that not only are we a great team defensively, but our individual players are just strong defenders. And why not capitalize on our strengths?
Exactly. And of course, what happens when you get a good defensive possession, get to the fast break points, and that can lead offensively. And I know even earlier on in the season than we are now, K-State has had its offensive struggles. Every now and again, it's still there, but obviously they're still really early in the season. We haven't even hit 10 games into the season yet, right? But it's just going to continue to grow because even this game against Jackson State, K-State hit 10 threes, bro. Like 10 threes.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know the last time they've done that. It was really cooking for them. And once again, Jackson State is a good team. Like they made it to the NCAA tournament last year. They've prided themselves that they've been able to take down some Power 5 teams within the last couple of years. This is a team that no one should sleep on. They have talent. They have players. They have D1 talent on their team from the transfer portal. They know it's not sweet out here. They know that's why people need to understand, like, yo, when K-State could put up these kind of numbers against these teams that maybe just looking at the school name you don't think is anything or think they're scrubs, they're not. And K-State rarely has played any throughout the entire season, and they're going to continue to do that before they start getting to the nitty gritty when it comes to their actual schedule that's coming up soon. I'm not sure who else is going to be on their schedule as far as like a tough team. I'm looking that up right now. If my computer would go any faster. Also, if I clicked on the right link, because at first I didn't. But, we're just going to sweep that under the rug. But obviously, the teams that they played with Wisconsin, another Power 5 team they were able to beat, and obviously Western Kentucky in that tournament, Northern Carolina. And, yeah, they have, like, the next big team that I know for sure they're going to be playing up next is going to be Missouri. They're going to play Mizzou in St. Joe in, next week. Next weekend. That's another Power 5 team that they're gonna have to go up against. And Mizzou, they're on a pretty good stretch themselves. I think they're 5-2 on the season so far. So, and I know our producer just sent us a message. He's not a fan of Mizzou. None of us are, but but that's just how it is. So this is still where this team could be, and going into conference play, I'm excited because they still have a great opportunity to really light some teams up, not only for defensively, but offensively as well. We're not even mentioning Gabby Gregory, who was the leading scorer of the Big 12. She hasn't had the strongest numbers so far this season. This is uncharacteristic for her because she's still needing to find her shot. Because right now she's shooting 31% from the field and then averaging 6 points a game. These are stats before the Jackson State game where she scored 8 points, I believe, right? But this is someone who can still, when she starts to get going, bro, this team is going to average 80 points a game, bro.
Yeah, seriously.
We talked about the last time you're on the show, Sophie, Jalissa Sanchez, she's got a beautiful jumper. When her shot starts to fall, she was able to get 15 points against North Carolina. When her shot starts to fall consistently, because she's getting good looks. She has a great jumper. When those starts to fall, this team is averaging 85 when she gets her shot going. If you add that type of defense and that type of offense, when you get these two players going, let me stop, man. Let me not get ahead of myself, because I'm telling you, they gonna run some stuff, bro. They gonna run it.
Yeah, give us Big 12 play already. I'm so excited. I love this team. I get oddly attached to certain rosters. And I already know that this might go down as my favorite women's basketball roster in my 4 years at K-State, because I'm obsessed with this team. And I just want this season to like continue to go and get deeper into our conference play because we're going to run it. We're going to be national talk this year, and we deserve it.
Oh, that feels good. K-State in a national conversation just feels right. And that's what we want. You just want the respect. Just put some respect on our damn name. That's all we ask for. And this is the team that's going to get that ball rolling. Then let me just sit back and relax and watch the damn show. All right. But y'all, that's the end of it. I know we had a lot to go through because there was a lot to talk about. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We're going to be right back probably sometime this week because I have to make up for missing last week because that's on me. That's on me for having a job and stuff. But, it's whatever because I got y'all, all right? So we're going to catch y'all then on Run It Back on the Kansas State Sports Network. See y'all.